Well, howdy, cowpokes. We're doing another episode of Dave's Garage. This time we are installing heated grips from Oxford to the MT-10. Now this is for the newest models. Those are the latest generation of MT-10. Also, I'm told it works the exact same way on the MT-09 SP. So Nicholas, this will work on your bike too. The beauty of all this is that if you buy them from Yamaha, because you want it to be, the OEM fitment and plug right in and work through the dash, $300. Or for $54, you can buy the Oxfords. And I'll put links to everything. And we're going to do this. I'm doing this in steps because I don't have a flunky to act as my cameraman today. Camera person, don't want to assume. And so what we're going to do is we've got these Oxford grips, and they have a whole kit that costs a bit more, but that comes with a control module and wiring and all that. All we need are the replacement grips. And so one of them's like $21 and one's like $19. And then you need a 2-pack of these from Amazon, which are the Yamaha OEM style plugs that they use for turn signals. Well, they also use them for your heated grips. And so you can actually cut the ends off the plug here and then tape it all up to keep water and stuff out. And basically you take the plug that these come with, and I'm still waiting on the other one. You only see one here. I had to order from 2 different vendors because Amazon only had one of them in stock, not the other. So I've got the clutch side, which we're going to slice that off, clean it, and then glue that on. And then we're going to run our wires, and I'll show you once it's all done. It's going to run up along here and down there, and then push it up through so it comes up to the front. The front, how you access this stuff, you've got this plastic cover, which goes and just pops out. It's got some clips here. That snaps out, and you get to that by taking off this piece, which would sit over that plastic and hold it in place with 3 screws. And that provides your 1, 2, 3, and 4 screws for your windscreen. So pick off the windscreen first, it's 4 screws, and then you're left with this. You remove those 3 screws, and you take that off, and then you've got the plastic cover. You just yank it and pop it off, and that gives you access to the plugs. What you do is you look at these, and you can see which wires are being used. I'm told that polarity doesn't matter, so we'll go over the wiring a little bit later when I have to wire up the other one. This one came in the other day, so I went ahead and wired it up in the house. But all I have to do is take that off, slide that on. You do glue it in place with super glue. Super glue can be broken, though. It'll provide a nice firm hold for a while, and eventually it'll probably crack, and you'll have to redo it. Don't use Gorilla Glue. Use Crazy Glue. You're sticking metal to plastic, so it'll hold really well, but it will come off if you need it to. And so that's going to slide on, get glued in place. The wires are going to get snaked through here, and then you just plug it in. And that's it. The ECU is already ready for this. As soon as it senses that there's something plugged in to the plugs, when you turn on the dash, you're going to see down in the bottom corner here in the right, you're going to see a little heated grip thing picture turn on. And then you use the scroll wheel, and you can scroll to it, click it, and then turn up how much heat you want. So this is all for like less than $60 shipped. I want to give credit to this, first of all, to V-Cycle Nut. So I got this idea from him, just happened to scroll up in my feed. Now, I haven't used him for tuning. I've heard really good things about him. I used to use my guy Huey here for years and years. I tend to find someone to kind of stick with him. But I've used Ivan before. I've used Bren tuning stuff. Lately, I've been using Chris Moore. But when I think of tuners, there's like that sort of upper level. You got Brox, you got Ivan, you got Bren Tune, you got Chris Moore. I put V-Cycle Nut up in. There's two wheels Dyno Works. I put them up in that group. There's like 5 or 6 really, really good tuners out there that seem to really know their shit and have the results to back it up. And Dave over at V-Cycle Nut seems to be one of those guys. Got a great reputation here. Nothing but good things from him and about him. So he's also like this close to hitting 1,000 subs, at which point he can monetize. Go give him a like and subscribe. Put him over 1,000, please, as a favor to me. Do that for him. He's the one that gave me the idea for this, so I'm going to do a video on it, but I want to give him full credit. His is the first website I saw this at, and I had some questions and he answered them, so I'm doing it for my channel and my subscribers. I want to reciprocate. Do him a favor, go give him a like and a subscribe, and get him over 1,000 so he can monetize and push his business forward. That out of the way, we're going to go and install this, but that's how you get everything to this point. Take off those covers, as I mentioned. We're going to cut off that grip. We're going to slide this on. We're going to glue it, and then we're going to run the wires down. I'll just zip tie them to this nice and clean, and then figure out how to snake it up through to come out here where I need it to. And then we'll go ahead and plug that in. I think I can get it right through. Yeah, that part I'll have to figure out off camera. I think there's a hole right there I can snake it through. But in any case, I'm going to fiddle around with that. You all stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. Any moment now, I'm supposed to get a delivery from UPS with the other grip. All I have to do is, it comes with 2 wires. It's going to have a white hook. It's going to have a white Oxford plug on the end. Cut that end off. And on this, you're going to ignore the black wire. Just tape that off. Same thing on this one. And you're going to wire up your 2 wires to the white and red. I'm told the polarity doesn't matter. And I just grabbed one at random and just did it, whatever colors I did. It's all taped up here so I can't see it, which one I went. But when I plugged it in, it worked, as I did a test run the other day. So go ahead and tape this up if you want to heat shrink it. I'm just soldering and then taping it up really well so that there's no gaps in there. And that's going to snake it up and wire it in. But you can get some nice heated grips for $60. And it doesn't take long to install them. It's no longer of an install, honestly, than doing the stock ones. The only difference is you got to spend 5 minutes just cutting and soldering and taping up this to put the connector on. But you buy a 2-pack for $9.99 off of Amazon. That's the factory plug that plugs right in. It's a perfect match. So this is a very easy install. So stay tuned. As soon as UPS gets here, we'll be back and we'll wrap this up and show you how it works. And we're back. UPS delivered the throttle side. So that's going to go over there. Already put the plug on the end, taped it all up. Dave's Garage, we have special guest Mark. Mark's going to be the cameraman. So now that camera, the back lens will turn off, but I think you can probably aim it approximately in the right direction. So what we got to do now is cut off, take your bar ends out. We're going to have to, you can peel these off. Tell you what, let's peel them off. And that way if something fucks up, I can go ahead and put the old ones back on. Best way to get grips off is with an air nozzle.
Why did the picture disappear?
I told you that was going to happen. I said go back. It does have to save battery. So just approximate. Best way to get grips off. If you can break the bead, these are on here with some grip glue. So if you can get, sometimes you can, if you can get it to break the grip, those are on there. You may have to cut them off. What do you think, Marky Mark? I could start peeling them, maybe. It's never simple, is it?
Yeah, a little lube would have helped.
No, you don't want any oil in there because I got to put the new ones on.
That's true.
You want gription. Come on. Jesus. Yamaha. See, it's starting to bubble up.
Yep.
I don't think these things are going to come off. It's like it's partially twisting, but all right, fuck it, we're cutting them. Now I'm committed. Because if the new grips don't go on for some reason. All right, so take your grips off. We're going to need to scuff those up with a little bit of sandpaper, get all that residue off with brake cleaner. We're going to do the same over here. So we need to get all that grip glue off. I'm going to leave that on. Oh, this is going to be even easier. All right, cool. A lot of the throttles had these like nubbins on the end that when that rubber thing goes in, it hooks in and you have to cut those off. I don't have to do that on these. Great success. So, Marky Mark, can, brake cleaner, black. That's yup. Danke.
Bitte.
Now let's see if this will get the grip glue off. Yeah, it's starting to gum up and booger up. When you're doing this with brake cleaner, try not to get it on the black plastic. Depends on what brake cleaner you have and what kind of plastic, but it can discolor it and turn it like whitish and gray. But we want to make sure we get all that schmutz off. You like that?
Schmutz.
A little bit of Yiddish for you? Mark is my Jewish friend. My token Jewish friend. Actually, back in New Jersey, I had a ton. They're everywhere up there.
They reproduce.
Yeah. All right. Now we do the other side. Now the way these grips are going to go back on is going to be a little unorthodox to most grips. We're going to be using super glue. You're like, no way, you'll never get them on. Well, that's what they say to use. They say CA glue, which is cyanoacrylate, I believe. I think I'm saying it right. But that's super glue, crazy glue. So that is what we are going to be using. So I need to get every bit of this residue off. Get that clean. And then we'll load it up with a shtickle of glue. It's like,
I'm just letting them roll.
yeah, yeah. Why do you think Watley converted to Judaism? I think he did it for the jokes. From Seinfeld.
Yes.
Tim Watley.
Played
by
by
the great Bryan Cranston.
Yes.
I love when Family Guy said something about Bryan Cranston. It was like, oh, you know, he got as easy a career as Bryan Cranston. And Bryan Cranston came in to do a quick scene, and he just sneezed, and they handed him an Oscar. Like, wait, which one's that? That one's too small. Oh, that's gonna be nice. Yeah, a little bit of super glue. All right, so what I've read in watching David at V-Cycle Nuts video is to do a trial. Actually, those are pretty goddamn snug. That one isn't going to take much glue at all. This is going to be a fairly easy install. So you're going to figure out where you want it to go as far as the wire, understanding that on this side, this one's going to move. So wherever you put it, you want to make sure that it's not going to be up so far. See how that's tall? You don't want this back here where you go to pull the lever in, and it's going to hit the lever and prevent you from pulling the brake lever all the way in. So it's going to have to sit somewhere down like there to where that can come in all the way. Here, come around the front here. So I could pull that in, and that's going to be up in this spot up here, but I'll be able to pull the brake in all the way. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little piece of tape. I'd say mark it with a black Sharpie, but you know, I don't know if black on black will work. There's a joke in there somewhere, I'm sure.
No comment.
All right, so we're going to put that line in line with that. All right. And then this one, I'm going to come around to this side, and that should be, now that one is a bit looser. I'm going to put more glue on that, but it slides on. I can have that up about, well, I want it to kind of match that one, so let's put this one on. We'll let the glue sit. Get out your crazy glue.
Show it one more time.
Oh, whoa, whoa, Jesus. Glue's all coming out because it's warm in the garage, so it's causing it to expand.
Next will be helpful hints on how to remove super glue from your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah, as Dave has webbed fingers now because he... All right. So we need to put a bunch of glue. And again, I know you're going crazy glue. That is crazy. Why would you do that?
One underneath.
This is what they say to use. All right. Put that somewhere where it won't get on the paint. Slide it on. And now, perfect. It's not hitting anywhere. And that looks like it's going to be about even with that. So we're just going to let that sit and dry. Now we're going to come to the other side. And this one isn't going to need as much. So I think that little bit of glue I have left, but get yourself an extra tube or get a bigger tube because this tube I've got didn't go as far as I thought it would. So now we're just going to put some glue. Whoa. Yeah, you ready?
Good. It is snug.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. And I can probably rotate that just a tiny bit. We in, boss. So this. Did you put this Dell bag over here? Computer bag?
No. Your wife did.
All right. So now we want those to dry, and it is super glue, so it shouldn't take that long. And then all you've got to do is we're going to run the wires here. We're going to tell the dogs to shut the fuck up.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah. Trust me, my listeners are used to listening to me yell at the dogs.
Shall I come around and give a front view?
All I'm doing here is just, putting that under there. We'll put a zip tie here. Again, this one you want to leave a little bit of slack because that one has to rotate, unlike the other one. And now, we're just going to snake this. Yeah, come in from the top. We're just going to snake this in. And now I've got to get it up somehow through. I mean, I could probably just go underneath like that. So here's what we're going to do. I'll zip tie all the shit out of the way later and make it look all nice. And it's going to be all underneath the cover that goes here. So we'll tuck those wires in there. And now this one, that's going to go in underneath this wire. So we'll do this and that. Bring it up here. And won't fit inside that loom, but I got zip ties. We'll zip tie that there. And then it's going to come up. We're going to need to leave enough slack. But basically, we're going to plug that in, tuck away our slack up in here, right? You feeling me? Okay. So that is all out the way. We got some slack here. Maybe to pull out a little more. Push some back in here. So now, put your covers back on. Snap those in. All right. Then we're going to put this bracket back on with the 3 screws. Then we're going to put on the windscreen, which goes into those 4 screws. You can see how that's done. We'll come back at the end. What I want to do first, before we button this all up, is turn on. Now here, get a little closer there, Marky Mark. That right there, that was not there before. So now I can scroll down and I can turn on my heated grips. So let's see. Now, normally you don't run these in the wintertime, and you don't run them on battery power. But if I do that, if I turn the bike on, you're not going to hear anything other than that. But these should start to warm up in a minute. So that's now all controlled by the ECU, and that's where you save the money. You buy the replacement grips from these guys, and then you just go ahead and put that put the plugs on the end. I'll put links in it for everything in the whatchamacallit. The only thing I didn't think about here, when I pull this up, now would I ever be at full throttle in applying brake? I might want to see if I can rotate that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this one off and we're going to re-glue it. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this, and we're going to put a new bit of glue down. I didn't think of that. There might be times when I am partly on the throttle, and they are starting to warm up, so that's good. So we're going to shut those off. We'll get a paper towel, clean off that super glue, and reapply it. I was only thinking about it from the vantage point of when it's closed throttle. Now, I don't know how often you'd be using brakes while at full throttle. So probably never, but I think we'll just go ahead and grab that black can again, if you would, please. All right.
It's good that you caught that before that glue set.
Yeah. We'll put the towels to my finger. All right. So. Got another bottle of glue.
Recommend to the listeners to buy the 2-pack of super glue.
Yeah.
It is a bargain, and you will need it.
I'm not putting a bunch up too close to here because I don't want it getting up into the throttle housing. All right. Shit, I forgot to put this fucking ring on. Damn it. All right, well, I guess it's not going on with that ring. Okay. Here goes my bar end.
Note to self, check your rings.
right, well, it's in the position it's in. I wanted that ring in there, but honestly, it's not going to make much of a difference. If I really wanted to, I could just snip it in one spot, actually. Because it really is just a spacer. It's not like it's structural or anything. So, if I were to... It's just supposed to be a little bit of a spacer. I can do that.
There we go.
So I'll figure out exactly how much slack I need and then zip tie that in place. And then you'll want to take the bike and turn it from one side to the other and, you know, make sure of all that stuff. But that's how you do it. Now I just got to put it all back together. So that is how you install heated grips. I will put links for everything so that you've got, you can go buy it. Now I had to buy one from, I got two of the things. I got the plugs and the left grip from Amazon, but then they didn't have any of the right, so I got the right from Revzilla. So you may just have to wait for it to come back in stock, but I'll put the links out there for you. And now I just put my bar end back in. I got my bar end mirror on this side. And the rest is just going to be zip tying everything and, you know, putting it away so it's all nice and stuff. Okay, there's a problem. I may need a different set of bar ends. Because those bar ends, it's rubbing, it was dragging. See, it's snapping back like it's supposed to. It wasn't with that. So, I may have to change out the bar ends for something else. I think I have one more that's kind of like this one. I'll just go inside and won't make any contact. I actually think I saw one the other day. But if not, we'll just have to go buy a different bar end. That's all right. We'll figure that part out later. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, tell my dogs to shut up again, and then I will be back once it's all buttoned up, and we'll go over it and make sure everything's all working the way it's supposed to. All right, everybody, we're back for the last piece. So everything's buttoned back up. Everything is zip tied. Everything is kind of right where I want it. And so we now have heated grips. So when you turn on the ignition, it'll see them. They'll show up down there in the bottom. Oh, and it actually remembers where it was last time. So I'm going to go and turn those off. Very cool setup. I love that they did this and just basically use such a simple system. I don't have to go into the dash and dick around with anything. It's kind of right there. I don't have to go into any advanced settings. Basically, you just put it in, turn it on. The only fly in the ointment I ran into was the stock bar end on this side was gripping the rubber. It was just too much diameter where you'd pull it and it wouldn't snap back. It would sometimes hang. You don't want that on a throttle on a leader bike. So luckily I had another one of these mounts that's made for that, but it looks fine. So I'll put that there. If I want to put another bar end mirror, I can throw that right on there. That's what it's made for. But yeah, so now it's there. Everything's zip tied out of the way. The biggest thing is just going to be making sure you have enough slack so that this can turn and it's not pulling on anything or binding on anything. And then you got to leave yourself enough slack here so that when you're at full lock in a parking lot, it's not pulling on the wires. So I had to roll the back bike out of the wheel chock, turn it all the way to the left. I had to put about an inch of slack into here, put the right amount of slack into there. Yeah, you see the wires there. There's no place that I could find in the center. I would have to take this all apart and probably drill a hole, and then maybe I could have them come to meet in the middle and then shoot them straight through. And then because it'd be at the pivot point, I wouldn't have to worry about that slack, and then I wouldn't see the wires. But they're heated grips. You're going to see wires. The wires are right there. Luckily, I've got enough slack in those cables there that if I figure out a way to take all this apart and drill a hole up in there and feed them through out the front and then connect them, I could clean that up probably just a little bit more. Honestly, I ain't gonna worry about it. Whatever. There's a whole bunch of wires and cables and stuff in here. One more ain't gonna make a difference. So I'm gonna go in the house and cool off. But we've got new tires, and we got relatively new suspension. We got Nitron Race Tech up front. We've got the new Road 6s on the back. Tire pressures adjusted, chains adjusted. Just did an oil change. Nice clean oil. I think it's what I used today. Mobile One, 1040 racing, racing 4T, whatever their stuff is. And a new filter. Everything's all safety wired. So we are ready for Labor Day weekend. And then we're also ready for the cold when that comes. I got my heated grips. And then I've also got the tall touring windscreen that I'm going to put on in the cold months to keep the wind off me. I found that it actually is very good at deflecting wind, which is not what you want when it's 98 degrees. You want that wind on you to cool you. So I can, with 4 screws, I can just swap it out. I got it in a bag up there on the shelf. As soon as it gets cold out, boom, put that big screen on, my heated grips. I got my tank bag. We'll be ready to go. So again, big credit out to Dave at V-Cycle Nut for giving me this idea. So go check out his channel. Definitely give him a like and a subscribe. I'll tag him in this. But he's a good dude. He's got a lot of good tuning advice, and he's got some good videos and good content. Expect a lot of things from him. You're going to hear that name a lot. So anyway, hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you later.